Hey everyone, today we'll be teaching you what to do with leftover coconut milk or coconut cream so you never have to waste it ever again. So today we'll be making coconut milk creamer from our leftover coconut cream. That was filmed on the same day that we made chocolate Filipino food. So be sure to check that out in the link in the description below. Otherwise, come with me as we make something out of what is our scraps. Let's go. So for this coconut milk creamer, we've got our leftover coconut cream from all of the stuff we made in that other video. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a pandan coconut cream creamer. So if we think about what is in our creamers that we buy from the grocery store, it's cream in some form, whether that's coconut, oat, or whatever, and flavoring as well as sugar. So what I've got here is frozen pandan leaves. If you've never had pandan before, it's a kind of earthy vanilla that a lot of Southeast Asians use. After that, I'm gonna use just regular white sugar because the pandan leaf is probably, I don't know this for sure, but the pandan leaf is probably going to turn our creamer a little bit green, and I wanna keep that color rather than, for example, putting brown sugar in there. Hopefully it becomes this beautiful green once we make it. So the only thing here is once you make it, I probably wouldn't use it for anything longer than 2 weeks, if not less. So this one's gonna be relatively easy. All we're going to do is take this coconut creamer. So you can see it's relatively liquidy and not as fatty as I thought it would be. I'm going to add a little bit of water just to buy us time for the pandan to infuse while it's boiling. So I added maybe a third of water here. And then you don't have to use a lot of pandan. I would say 1 leaf is really enough. But to be honest, it's hard to go through this packet. So I'm gonna just add another couple there. So first thing I'm gonna look out for is just to get this thing boiling and then make sure there's no chunks, because this was a little chunky when I first opened it. So once this hits its first boil, that's when I'm gonna add in the sugar. And then all we have to do is strain out the pandan leaf. Now that it's starting to boil, the chunks are basically dissolving into this. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll get some green here, but let's see how it goes. So I'm gonna let it simmer for a while because remember, we added water in here to give time for the pandan to absorb in. Oh, now you can smell the vanilla coming out of the pandan. It's not turning green, but this smells so beautiful. It's, again, earthy vanilla is the only way that I've got for you right now. But if you've never tried pandan, it's such a beautiful flavor from the Southeast. It makes green, colorful desserts. Just doesn't fight well against milk though. But so my wife makes me put my utensils in this situation, but because I am a chaotic creature, I kind of just put it anywhere because in my mind, you're gonna clean it up. You're gonna clean up the whole kitchen anyway. So what kind of cook are you? Do you try to keep everything in a place, or are you a chaotic creature like me where you just make a tornado of a mess and then clean it up after? Comment below. So if you take a look here, you're seeing the fat come to the top right here. You see that? That's the fat coming to the top. So for me, if I'm making a creamer out of this, I'm gonna keep boiling this down, maybe 2 more minutes. And then as I think of how many drinks of creamer this looks like, I am going to ballpark 4. So what I'll do is I'll do 4 scoops of this. All of your creamers have a lot of sugar. Starbucks has a lot of sugar. And that's about what you're drinking per drink, if not more. Okay, so we have simmered this now for about over 5 minutes. So if I'm looking at that, that might even be 5 or 6 drinks. So I'm gonna put a lot of sugar in here. Then after about a minute of this, just to make sure that the sugar is all dissolved, I am going to strain, and then that should be it. I'll try to show it to you guys cold as well. I should probably do it over the kitchen sink, but I don't feel like moving the camera. So the creamer that we made has been sitting in the fridge for a day now, so it's got time to cool. And one thing I wanted to show before I put the iced coffee together is that the creamer itself has sort of, there's still saturated fat in there, so it's still kind of blocky. So maybe that's the difference between coconut cream and coconut milk, where coconut cream still has saturated fats and coconut milk is refined a little bit more so that you won't have this issue when the time comes. So despite that, we still have actual cream that we can still use. And so I'll filter out the saturated fats and then show you guys the iced coffee. So I have the Tupperware here, and I'll just take this filter and filter out those blocks of cream that have hardened. So here now, this is just straight up cream. And we'll just go milk all the way to the top. And there we go. And of course, we can't forget the straw. Make sure you're able to stir that iced coffee. I use Bustelo just because when I make creamer, it's a little bit sweet, and Bustelo is just so bitter, almost offensively bitter, that it balances out. So this actually tastes really good. You can taste the coconuttiness of the cream, but I think it's not this artificial coconut taste because you're using coconut cream, coconut milk that isn't processed, and I would say also the coconut milk in the Asian cans are much better for this. But it's sweet, it's got the bitterness from the Bustelo, and a nice way of not having to throw away your extra coconut milk and coconut cream when you're cooking other things. So with that, thanks for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Thanks.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.